Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to episode number 63 of Motorsports Racing with David Starr. Tyler Jones, we're so glad to have you with us. Coming up on today's show, we are going to be joined by NASCAR driver Matt DiBenedetto, as we will talk about his journey throughout the NASCAR Cup Series to the Camping World Truck Series and beyond. A fascinating discussion with Matty D coming up in just a little while for right now. Plus, we will have our news and notes with the latest headlines across the motorsports world, as well as our Ask David segment at the end of today's show. As always, we are presented by TicketSmarter. Let's go racing with David Starr, presented by TicketSmarter. TicketSmarter came aboard as the primary sponsor this year in David's 08 Ford Mustang. We want to tell you a little bit about what they do. TicketSmarter is a national ticket resale marketplace with tickets to over 125,000 live events, including NASCAR and other forms of motorsports. Fans can get tickets to every NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, and Camping World Truck Series race throughout the season. Visit TicketSmarter.com. That's TicketSmarter.com. David Starr joins us right now. David, off of a weekend at Talladega. Family was out there and everything. You had a fast car, but then caught up in a little bit of trouble there.
Man, our TicketSmarter Ford Mustang, TicketSmarter Special Report Brett Baer Ford Mustang was incredible. Man, there was no practice weekend, Tyler, not for the Cup Series, not for the Xfinity Series. And we qualified. We had to take a provisional, just our Ford Mustang. I mean, it just didn't have that raw speed, that one lap. But man, when the race started, man, I tell you what, Jason Miller, my crew chief, I mean, our TicketSmarter Ford Mustang was unbelievable how fast it was. I could go from the back to the front. I could pass cars easily. And our strategy was, talked it over with Jason Miller and Bobby Dotter, our team owner, and Stan Ross, that owns TicketSmarter, my sponsor, about, we had a strategy to hang in the back and, to kind of keep a little bit of real estate in between the lead pack and ourselves. We, about 15 car lengths, 12 car lengths. And we did that most of the race. And they had wrecks and we had a little bit of real estate to navigate the wrecks and not get involved in them. And I don't know, after about the fourth wreck, they dropped a green. And I went up to the front a little bit and then dropped back, had about 10 cars behind me. And had enough space if something happened in that lead pack again where we could, we could navigate our way through it without getting in a wreck, hopefully. And it happened coming off turn 2, man. They started wrecking again and everything was great. I wasn't going to be in the wreck. And then about 3 seconds later, man, somebody just ran into the back of my race car and took us out, So, sometimes you can have a strategy for this, have a strategy for that. But man, when you're racing in Talladega or Daytona, there's no safe place on the racetrack. You just got to have a lot of luck on your hands. And if I'd have known I was going to get taken out from behind, I'd have just went to the front from the start. You know what I mean? I mean, I had such a great race car and I never really got to show it because I ran 3/4 throttle. I never really ran 100%. Because it wasn't time. We were going to go with about 10 laps to go and go to the front. And, when 10 laps to go, 5 laps to go. And, and if you wreck or get involved in a wreck, so be it. That's just part of it. But, we were going to give ourselves a chance and didn't get to that mark with 10 laps to go. We were involved in a wreck. Like I said, we got taken out. But, man, it was fun. I had my wife, Kim, was there. DJ and Vance was there. And, what a great weekend. It was just an awesome weekend. And then the watch the Cup race Sunday was unbelievable, but just a cool weekend.
Yeah, and you were on Fox and Friends, and so that was cool to see. I woke up early to watch that. My mom was even watching and said, wow, David's so excited. He's got so much energy. I said, yep, that's the David we see every day. So.
Yeah, well, man, I'm blessed more than I deserve. I mean, I pinch myself.
That's what you said too.
To have you guys on a podcast, to have our own podcast and talk about what we all love is really cool. Have sponsors like TicketSmarter and Stan Ross with Digital LI that owns TicketSmarter, to have him as a supporter and to have Brett Baer, I mean, how did, I'm just a normal guy, hardworking guy like we all are, and have Brett Baer take a liking to not only myself, our racing team, Matt Jennings, and give us an opportunity to help us race at the level we race at. It's just, man, it's just so much of an honor. I'm just so humble and thankful for it. But and then to be on Fox and Friends, you know what I mean, and be able to promote, Brett Baer. He don't need promoted, but talk about Brett Baer, talk about TicketSmarter, and man, it was the coolest thing, and at the end of the day, I just want to get in that race car and win, but to open the morning, early in the morning, and be on Fox and Friends, and then to get to put on my TicketSmarter race uniform and climb in a NASCAR Xfinity race car and race at Talladega with my boys.
Doesn't get any better than that.
It doesn't get any better than that, man. Life's good.
Yeah, Dominic Argott, RacingExperts.com, joins us as well. Dom, an exciting weekend highlighted by Ross Chastain pulling off his second win of 2022, and he's the story of the season so far.
He surely is, man. His first 120 Cup Series starts, 3 runner-up finishes, now 2 wins in the last 5 races, and one of the top seeds in the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs right now. Great story. Ross Chastain, definitely. I think back to that conversation I had with him at Sonoma in 2019. Flew out there, had run the truck race in Iowa the day before. I'm like, man, why are you doing this? You don't even get points in this series. And he's like, it's all going to pay off someday. I'd say it's all paying off.
Yeah, and David, with Ross getting that win, second win for Trackhouse, and it's not just these 2 wins. They weren't flukes by any means.
No.
Ross and Trackhouse, Daniel Suarez included, they've been running up front every single week. Is that one team with Ross Chastain after this win? Are they championship contenders now?
Man, they are. I mean, you can't count them out. I mean, you paying attention every week. You watch that number 1 and the 99. His teammate Daniel Suarez led a lot of the Talladega race. He had different circumstances over the different races, but he's been god awful fast as well. But Ross is getting the job done, and I felt bad for Eric Jones. I was, there at the racetrack cheering on Richard Petty, the number 43. And I thought Eric Jones was going to pull it off. And man, Eric had a fast car. And, it was interesting. He came down the last lap. Kyle Larson was, pushing him, bump drafting him. And they came off turn 4. And you just knew something was going to happen, And I don't even know if Kyle Larson had enough steam to really get around the 43 car, but he pulled out of line. He pulled way out of line, and the 43 car went. He went 3 or 4 lanes up to try to block him, and Ross Chastain was just stayed in his line. He had a lot of people behind him, and they ended up winning the race. And I was like, man, it was just a lot changes from the trioval to where the start finish line is at Talladega. It's just amazing coming off turn 4 how different it was when they got to the start finish line. It was incredible, but what a great race it was.
Matt DiBenedetto is set to join us in just a moment. Before we officially bring him in, Dominic, tell us about Matty D. Quite the background for Matt, and he's been pretty successful throughout the years in whatever he drives in, and what a story we're about to hear in just a bit.
Absolutely. He's somebody who has raced in all 3 of NASCAR's major touring series, was a Joe Gibbs Racing development driver, and then the NASCAR Nationwide Present Xfinity Series. Ran in the Cup Series, Wood Brothers Racing most recently, and made the NASCAR playoffs in 2020. Currently drives the 25 truck for Rackley WAR Racing in the Truck Series. Matt, thank you so much for making the time to join us here on Let's Go Racing this week.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah, always, Matt. And one of our favorite things we love to do is have our guests take it back to the beginning and tell us in their own words, where did the journey start for you in racing? And at what age did you realize, hey, I can make it as a professional race car driver?
Yeah, man, it's I'm a first generation racer, so nobody in my family had really raced. My dad was into cars and such, but that's about it. So I was 5 years old, and my parents were flipping through the channels. They passed by NASCAR. I made them go back to it, and my dad went, "What the heck do you want to watch that for?" And so then that turned into a weekly routine, and I rode 4-wheelers and dirt bikes every single day, and it was wide open. My dad's passion was actually baseball, so I played Little League. He was the coach for the team. He has a big background in that. And, at one of the games, he called me his little Jeff Gordon, and at like the trophy ceremonies or whatever it was. And and then he was like, yeah, this is my little Jeff Gordon. He likes baseball, but loves racing. And just so happens, end of the story, one of the kids that was on our little baseball team, little league team, raced out at Cycle Land Speedway in Chico, California, dirt track that Kyle Larson and I grew up racing at.
Wow.
So that's kind of the pretty much how everything got started for us. And then after that, the rest is goodness. It's so crazy. You know how this stuff is. It's like I need about a 1,000-page book to go from there to the end. It's been amazing how it's all started. And that's just how the roots of it were, and grew up dirt racing out in California.
How old were you, Matt, when you realized I can make a living at this?
I don't think that's happened yet. Still waiting on that. The unpredictable nature of our sport makes it just something else, its own animal for sure. But so I don't know if I really figured that piece of it out, but I think it became serious really by other people pushing us, saying like, hey, when we're out in California, and I'm only at this time probably 11, 12 years old, 12 maybe. And people are like, you got to move across country and go to North Carolina out there. That's like NASCAR country, and you got to pursue it. So it was really other people telling us that out there that we really needed to push and pursue it. And luckily, we were naive and crazy enough to tackle that journey, pick up and move across the country, and really get a rude awakening into the kind of the next chapter.
Well, man, that's cool, man. It's thanks for joining our podcast, and man, you've done it all, buddy. You I remember when you first came into the Truck Series, the Xfinity Series. I remember you doing some stuff with Joe Gibbs, and man, the next thing you know, I mean, you're in the Cup Series, and man, you weren't just in the Cup Series. I mean, it was amazing the races that you raced and how good you were, and the things you did with the race car, and come so close to winning so many times with different teams. You took some, I think, C-rated equipment, and man, you ran like it was A-rated equipment, and it was just cool to see somebody like yourself that wasn't, nobody handed you anything. It was from a lot of passion, a lot of desire, and a lot of want to, and to see you make it all the way to the top level, almost win the Daytona 500, almost win Bristol, almost win a lot of races. To drive for the famous Wood brothers, I mean, it don't get much better than that. You know what I mean? But man, you've been through all aspects of it, and it's just amazing. There's no guarantee in this sport, but I understand what you're talking about. But anyway, man, what were you driving early on? I mean, when you started on dirt, were you driving modified sprint cars, stock cars, or anything you get your hands on?
Yeah, and I appreciate that. First off, David, that's it's been an emotional roller coaster and a crazy journey. Too close, too many times. That's for darn sure. Oh my goodness, especially that Bristol, the 95 car, and the Daytona 500 with them, and doing what you're saying, like we were taking kind of a team that was growing and sort of a B team or whatever, and growing it and competing for wins. So that was really neat. But to answer your question though, the out in California, it was really just those the mini outlaw carts that run out of Millbridge out here and stuff that have become so popular. That's what we grew up racing from the time I was 7 until 13 years old. And that's, then I started dabbling in some Legends cars, and then we picked up and moved cross country shortly after that.
Man, that's amazing. I think about Matt Benedetto and watching you, and it was such a great story because, you know as well as we all know, it takes, a lot of the talented race car drivers that you and I race against. We've been doing this a long time. Some of them a lot of the stories are hard work, determination, passion, and just the desire, and your driving talent got you to the Cup Series, you know. And now that don't happen that often these days, the last 7, 8, 9 years. You know, if you don't bring a big check with you, you know, you don't even get an opportunity. And but man, just man, I don't know. All the fans I run into, when you talk to different people and hear conversations in the garage, man, you're kind of you're like one of the most real guys out there, the fans that can identify with you. I mean, you have a big fan following, and it's amazing, you know, what you did and what you the success you had. And I sit here, and when I think about Matty D, I'm thinking about, to me, Tyler and Dominic, it's like, I can't believe this guy's not racing in the Cup Series today, right now. I can't believe that Matty D is not going to Dover, Delaware, driving in a Cup car to possibly win a race. There are people racing in the Cup Series full time right now that this guy right here is so much more talented as a race car driver. You know what I'm saying? And that's the frustrations of it. You know what I mean? You got somebody like Matty D that's proven himself, beating the best of the best in our sport, worked his way to the top, got there, and should be in a Cup car at Dover this weekend, and he's not. You know what I mean? And that's the disappointing part about our sport. And you know, you can't get caught up on that. You got to keep doing what you're doing, Matt, and what I'm doing. But man, you put yourself in the right situation, good equipment, and the right crew chief and the right engineering, and Matty D's going to victory lane.
And I'm hiring David as my spokesperson. I'll tell you what.
Well,
I think that's a good call. Yeah.
Hey, did I say something that wasn't spot on? You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, it's just the way it is. You know, I talked to people, was in a conversation about 4 weeks ago about you, we were talking about somebody talking about Cup, and I'm not going to mention names. I don't need to do that. But your name was part of the conversation that a lot of us were shocked that you're the guy that should be in Cup right now and not some other ones. You know what I mean? And so you're a part of that conversation, and I hear that a lot, and it's just amazing, you know. But it just goes back to the business side of the sport, which is so different from years past. I think the drivers that have the ability, the talent, and the desire and the want to, and would be great for a sponsor, a good spokesperson for our sport, and somebody that would represent a sponsor well. I mean, we're talking to him right now. You know what I mean? There's others that are racing there that, man, I wouldn't have picked them to be there. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, tough business we're in.
So with that being said, along those same lines, Matt, I got to ask, is the hunger, is the desire to get back to the top? I know that, you know, you're working your butt off in the Truck Series right now and such. Is that drive for you as big as it's ever been before now?
Man, you know, I think my answer might be a little bit different than what some expect when it comes to that topic. Is obviously the hunger and desire is always, you know, to 10 out of 10. I think, you know, that happens when we get in a go-kart and we go to the local go-kart track. We're just kind of programmed that way naturally, that we're just all in, overly competitive to a fault most all the time when we do pretty much anything. So yeah, no, that fire and that drive is always there. I'd say my answer though is, you know, I'm really thankful for how everything worked out. As crazy as it sounds, I'm having more fun than ever. Even not our luck. I'm not having any fun about some of our circumstances that have worked out. But as far as just the atmosphere of the Truck Series, my team, that I'm working with, they're just such good people. It's really refreshing. You know, David, that difference between just even being in the truck garage and being in the Cup garage. It's you know, they're two completely different environments. So, you know, to answer your question a little bit better, I'm just sort of enjoying having fun, racing the trucks. I want to put everything in to get our team. You know, we still got some work to do, get to where we're executing. We've had some little mishaps and some failures. It's just we're working out some bugs. So I want to build our team up to where we're kicking butt, racing for wins, which I know we can have the speed to do. That's for sure. It's already been shown, just not quite the circumstances. So I'm kind of having fun, and God had, his own, he had his plan for me and where circumstances ended up. And, it was I had a lot of life change in the last year since finding a relationship with the Lord and changing a lot and saving my life. And so now I've kind of looked at it through a different lens of understanding, of being thankful for how it's all worked up to lead me to the only thing that mattered, throughout all this mess that can really consume us, very easy.
That's fantastic. We're joined by Matt DiBenedetto right now here on Let's Go Racing with David Starr, as we are talking with Matty D about his season in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. And Matt, what's kind of the expectations? What's the goals for you and this team here in 2022? I know that we talked a lot about when you were in the Cup Series, how close you were to getting to victory lane. Now I imagine that's a must. You got to get that truck into victory lane here soon, don't you think?
Yeah. I'm getting a little angry sometimes at that fire of, okay, I've come close way too many times. I'm done with close. That's over. That day has passed us. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of, I know everything works out the way it's supposed to, but yeah, I am hardcore. A win's got to come in this truck. I know we have the speed. I know we can do it. We're not Kyle Busch Motorsports. We understand that, but we have really good people. We have nice trucks, and we're working out the bugs, and we're getting on the same page, and we're going to grow it. And I really think that we can go out and win some races. So that's the ultimate goal, is to just get in victory lane sooner than later.
Absolutely.
Well, Matt, and we know Daniel Hemrick, he had said when that first win comes, he was going to do the backflip off the car. He did that at Phoenix when he won the championship. What kind of crazy special celebration or something unique are you going to do when you do get that first win?
Yeah, man. I really, Daniel Hemrick is someone who I've really felt for so much over the years. I mean, he's been rocket ship fast on all kinds of different tracks, been like a lightning fast on road courses, like at the Charlotte Roval, different stuff. And it's like, okay, what circumstance is going to happen to him now where he's not going to win or whatever it may be. And that's how I'm like, I feel like I can relate with this poor guy. So whenever when that win comes, which I pray with everything in me that it is really soon. I don't know what, that's something I can't even predict. I just feel like, oh, no way, this is actually finally here.
Yeah. Man, it's fun working with a team that has a lot of desire, and that's refreshing to, step back into the truck series and kind of enjoy it a little bit more. You know what I mean? Enjoy the process, and you helping the crew chief and your team, get better as an organization together, with your ability and your talent and with your attitude, it takes the team, that's part of it, man. That's what drives a team. And I just, watching you in the past and watching you take equipment that's not supposed to run that good, and seeing what you have done with equipment that, that wasn't supposed to run that good. And
every team he's been on, he's made better.
No, absolutely. And that's the point, you know what I mean? And it's fun to elevate a team like the team you're with right now. And like you said, they're not Kyle Busch Motorsports. It ain't like you have all this factory support and, but it makes a difference having a guy that has the experience and what you need in a race car or race truck to get that thing to victory lane, and working with the crew chief. It's interesting. It's interesting to see how it all works out. But man, I know you've been really fast. We've been paying attention to you, and you just had your circumstances, man. You've had some terrible luck and some crazy things happen to you, but that will eventually go away, and eventually you'll see that 25 pickup truck pull into victory lane soon, no doubt about it. Hopefully sooner than later.
Yeah, it's crazy because you never know how that tide's gonna turn. Because it reminds me of 2019, my first year driving for the '95 team, Levine Family Racing, and great family. And we undertook so much in such short notice. We were behind the start of the season, and it was just like trying to play catch up, and we were a little off on speed at 1.5 miles big time, and the schedule's packed full of them early in the year. All these things, and things just weren't going well. And then it was like a light switch at a certain point in the season. It just changed to where we're caught up now. Everything was in a rhythm and a good flow in the shop. Everybody's communicating well, and then we're able to get a little head on our cars and working and pushing limits hard and all those things. And the next thing you know, the whole second half of the season is one contending for wins, top fives, top tens, and with a small family-owned team, legitimately, like 100%. We were not on like a Gibbs 8 program or all that, all the information, none of that. And it was so rewarding to do that. So it kind of reminds me of this little journey that we're in right now. It's like, goodness, we're having to overcome some hurdles and having some bad circumstances, all these things thrown at us to start the year. But I know that we can overcome that. And I think it reminds me of a type of deal like the '95, and where I really feel we can go out and win some races and be competing for wins and get in a groove and have some good execution.
Matt, you were in that '95 car and really improved that juncture. And then the 21 team, we mentioned you took to the playoff, got them there, and all of that. And throughout all your career, of all these different things that you've accomplished to this point, I mean, the underdog story of NASCAR, I think of Matt DiBenedetto, I mean, you're the face of that and become one of the most popular drivers in the sport, quite frankly. With all that being said, whether it's the fans that have been on your side or the stuff you've done on track, what is it you're most proud of when it's all said and done at this point? What is it that makes you look back and are most proud of from what you've done?
As I look back, I'm just most thankful for now, my perspective on it. That's not that I don't deserve. None of it I deserve. None of the, the opportunities, the blessings, none of those things. I don't deserve any of them, any of that. And I've been blessed with so much goodness. But what I'm most thankful for and most, proud, but in a humble way, would be that, all this stuff happened and all these like, oh my gosh, heartbreaks and being pounded in the ground and don't know if I have a ride and this kind of underdog story. Now I'm thankful for it so much more than ever, because it humbled me and I needed it, like in life, needed to knock the pride out of me. And kind of this sport has a way of doing that to you. It can beat you down pretty easy. It's intense. And so kind of on a more personal level, though, it got me down to a point where I was more vulnerable about things. And it's amazing how the racing community is and how much of a family it is, because between that and, personal things just not going well and life just dragging me down, and my dad having suicidal issues, and all of these bombs dropped at once. And on racing, this was at the time when I guess I'm not returning to the 21. It's just everything was down. But at this point, racing and this whole journey and everything had humbled me so much that I was like, all right, I surrender. I'm gonna start asking questions. I haven't before. And then I started. Michael McDowell, as a lot of people know, is a good buddy of mine. And, I've always been very comfortable with him, and he's made me feel comfortable. So I started asking him some questions that were awkward for me, very awkward, because I just didn't grow up, not much of a Christian background, I guess you could say. And I started asking him some questions, and man, he kind of pierced my soul the way he talked to me about a few things and changed me. And now, so anyways, what I'm getting at, why I'm kind of painting this whole picture, is all this crazy humbling and journey that I can look back on and be like, oh, I'm super thankful for, because it humbled me down to a level of vulnerability that was much needed, and it truly changed and saved my life. and I walk with a much different perspective through it all. And I'm very thankful to get to drive in circles for a living at the end of the day.
Yeah. Hey, Matt, one of the things it's interesting to hear you talk because, man, the good man above, God has a plan for all of us. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And you know, he's in control of all of it. And, you know, we you know, it's, you know, that's kind of the way I see it and the way it's been for me. And I know it is for Dominic and Tyler, but man, he's in control and, you never know what path he's controlling all of it. So, you know, I think, like you said, it's interesting to hear you speak about it, you know, and talking to Michael McDowell, man, he's such a great guy. And, you know, he's a man of faith. And, I've heard him speak a couple times about give his testimony. It's amazing. And, you know, it's really interesting. And I'm sure you guys are even closer now than you were before.
Yeah, man, it's been amazing to kind of grow. So not just as friends, but through the spiritual lens, like that relationship together. And he was, he's been kind of a mentor for me through, the beginning of my journey. So to help me not be too much of a rolling crash course, which I can be many times. So he helped me a lot. And, it's amazing just in the NASCAR industry too, like the motor racing outreach group. A lot of fans may not know that, that there's a group dedicated to, because, Cup Series racing on Sundays and such, like, and if they go to church at home with their family or something, they can't go. So MRO is there at the track for the guys, crew guys, families, all that. And they're always going around, and they'd have, a little service and stuff on Sundays for crew guys, everybody to attend. And that just, that was a big piece of my journey as well. So these things were happening right at the racetrack. My life was being changed. The good Lord was using our little old NASCAR family to really change a lot, change my life and save my life. So it's crazy what a family that the NASCAR community is.
Well, I think he's got a big plan for you. I'm man, we're big fans of yours. It's fun to watch you in the Truck Series. But I wouldn't be disappointed if he makes some big changes for you and we see you back in Cup. I'd love to see you back in Cup. And I know not only Dominic and myself and Tyler, I mean, I hope the whole racing community, like you said, our fan base, we have such a huge fan base worldwide, but man, I tell you, you just, you're a fan favorite, man. And I'm sure I'm 100% positive that we'll see Matty D back in Cup again, just because, with the ability and the talent you have, I'm sure that opportunity is not too much further away, but you're going to enjoy your time in the Truck Series and help that team get better like you've done all the other teams. And I'm looking forward to watching you the rest of the year. And hopefully here real soon, you'll put that 25 truck back into victory lane. I don't even think it's ever been to victory lane. And I'm excited to watch the progress.
I think when it's all said and done, Matt, you're going to have to write a book about this whole experience.
Man, no kidding. It's been something, that's for sure. And yeah, we're that's the goal. That's the plan. We're gonna get the old 25 truck in victory lane and then start checking off some boxes.
So Matt, we have a little bit of time left here with you. You're running, of course, trucks full time in 2022, but could we see you possibly in an Xfinity ride or a Cup ride? Is there anything in the works to have you in any of the other series this year?
For right now, I've just been really focused on our deal, and I really haven't paid a whole lot of attention to any other stuff or been seeking any other stuff, to be honest. I've been really just completely honed in on our deal because I want to be all in and get it to where, I know it can be, because it has a lot, so we have so much potential as a team. So a lot of my focus has been there. And then as far as moving forward, like looking further ahead, really, honestly, where my heart lies is with our team, because, at a point of so much uncertainty, Curtis Sutton and Willie Allen and that group, really, they came after me and were wanting me. They were just so dedicated, like, please be a part of this team and grow with us. And so, they made a lot more of a commitment than just like, hey, Matt, come drive our truck for a year. It's more of a, it's really, we've become like family. They made a huge commitment to me. So I'm big on kind of that loyalty, and I really appreciate that. And I'm having fun, and it's, an amazing opportunity. So I'm my heart is really lying with focusing on our team and growing with them, since they made such a commitment to me. That's really kind of where all my focus and my heart lies. And that's even, to moving forward at this point as well.
Well, Matt, and talking about some of those guys that work with you, I think it was a really cool moment a few weeks ago on this show. We had one of your crew guys, Brad Perez, I think is how he says his last name, racing against you at COTA. Talk about that and how cool that was. I know you guys had a moment there at driver introductions, and what was it like to be racing against one of your crew guys out there at COTA?
It was really cool, man. It was neat. It was funny, so different and fun, neat, funny, amazing how versatile. How there's so many racers in our sport that are working on the race cars, and it was so awesome to see him have that opportunity in the truck series and be conversing with them, not as one of our fellow crew members and doing tires for me, but up there at driver intros on the stage. So that was really cool. I was happy for him. You always love seeing good things happen to good people.
Absolutely. Well, in a couple of weeks' time, too, I mean, you look at your truck series team and the Tennessee connections, and I know you had shared this on social media a few days ago with you running that throwback paint scheme to Sterling Marlin. And what does that mean to you to have a throwback scheme at Darlington, like the old Coors Light car? And also, has Sterling reached out to you, or have you guys had any conversations about it?
Not yet, but man, our team's been in close contact with them, and I was really thankful that that I'm honored to be able to drive that car. So it just reminds me, and immediately brings me back every time I see that thing and I see that truck. I'm just like, oh my goodness. It reminds me of all my days growing up watching NASCAR, because the old number 40 Coors Light Dodge at the time, man, that thing was a rocket. He was winning. It was when he was really, on top, and winning a lot of races. That thing was always a rocket ship, getting poles. So I remember that very specifically. That was my weekly routine as a kid, watching that car win a lot of races and have a lot of success. And I always big time pulled for him, because, Sterling just always struck me, even as a kid. He just struck me as a good, genuine, humble, grassroots racer. And I loved that about him.
Absolutely. Hey, man, you speaking of Sterling Marlin, I remember, man, I'm just vivid, man. I remember you almost winning the Daytona 500, but you go back years from, I don't know what year it was, but I remember Sterling. I don't even know what happened to him. He had his fender pushed in, and they had a red flag towards the end of the race, and he got out of his car, walked around the cars, pulling the fender out. Man, the official jumped out of the pace car, ran back there, but man, Sterling was, man, what a man, just a true hardcore, great guy, great racer, earned his way there. And man, it just so much history there with Sterling Marlin and his dad, Cuckoo Marlin. And it's interesting. I think y'all are based somewhere in that Nashville area, and I guess he don't live too far from where y'all shop is.
Yep. So he's not far from the shop. It's super cool. And man, it's funny when you talk about that story of Daytona, because I remember I watched that live as a kid. I can't remember how old I was, what year it was, but I remember specifically watching that live, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I remember, like, my parents would watch it. I'd be like, Mom, Dad, he just jumped out of his car, and he's jumping over on the other side, pulls the fender out. So I remember that specifically, which is so funny and so crazy, the memories we can have. I don't remember anything from my childhood, hardly, but I can tell you, I can remember about riding four-wheelers, dirt bikes, and I can remember my NASCAR knowledge.
That's amazing.
That's awesome. Matt, we're wrapping up here, but I got to say on a personal note, I don't know if you remember this, but a few years back when you were at Go Fast Racing in the 32 car, you came out to Kansas Speedway, and one of my good friends who I grew up with in Tulsa, Cameron Hagan, he had me and a couple of our friends, and we were with you and the team for the weekend, and we did an interview. I didn't even know how to say your name, and now you've become a household name, man. So I always thought that, I was still in college at that point, and I always look back and was so appreciative how graceful and humble you were and such, and now where you've turned out now. I mean, that was cool. So I always look back. That was one of my favorite memories I've ever had at the racetrack, and you were a big part of that. So I appreciate that, man.
Absolutely, man. Cool. No, that's good memories. And old Cameron, I still talk to him or see him a little bit here and there on occasion and stuff. So that's funny. Small world. Yeah, that's good stuff.
And I got to add on to that too. I think over the years, we've definitely chatted at the racetrack a time or three, whether it be for my company or ESPN Albuquerque, and you've never turned down an interview. So yeah, just, from a media perspective, you always appreciate that. We know it's tough. You stick a microphone in somebody's face after they climb out of a truck or a car, and you've never turned down an interview. So always thank you for that.
Yes.
Oh, I appreciate that. It doesn't mean I haven't said some stupid stuff throughout all those times in interviews, but no, it's always it's always a big priority to just be thankful and respectful to all those that are putting on the show and covering our sport and what we do, and and just from a human perspective, just treating people nice, man. If we as an industry can, even if it's the crew guys to drivers to whoever, if they're treating the fans with, grace and appreciation and all that, then it really makes the experience good for everybody and makes those good memories and impressions on everybody at the track. That's everybody plays a major role in it.
Well, before we let Matt run here, David, we'll give you the final word. Anything you want to add or anything you have left for Matt here?
No, I'm just listening to y'all talk. Matt, you're just one of the good guys, man. You always have been. And it's just cool to see somebody like yourself be so successful. You know what I mean? And it's cool to hear your perspective on our industry and NASCAR these days, how it's changed over the last couple of years. But man, you're just a great guy. Great things happen to great people. And man, I'm just glad you're part of our sport. You make our sport better. Not all the drivers are like Matty D. You know what I mean? Matt can tell you that. I mean, it's just, he's so gracious with everybody, you guys, the media, the fans, the racing teams. I mean, he just, people say, hey man, they tell me you're always happy. I said, man, I'm so blessed, more than I deserve, because I've done this 25 years, and I'm more blessed than I ever deserve. And man, it's cool to be able to do what we love to do, make a living at it. And but man, it's cool. There's not that many great guys out there. Michael McDowell, Matt Benedetto, there's 5, 6, 10, but they're not all like you guys, man. It's really cool to know you, and we appreciate you jumping on our podcast with us, man. It means a lot to us.
Absolutely, man. Thank you guys for the kind words. I'm I may not be super cool or do a lot of cool stuff, and we're pretty low key and playing with our dog and chilling at home, but we're definitely blessed, like you said, man, to do what we do and to have such good people supporting us. But thanks for man, I appreciate you guys having me jump on here. If you guys anything y'all ever need, man, just holler away.
Matt, you're welcome back anytime, man. We'll talk again down the line. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks a lot, man.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
Our news and notes segment coming up in just a moment. Before we do, we want to tell you more about our friends at TicketSmarter. TicketSmarter is the official ticket resale marketplace of Worldwide Technology Raceway, where David won in 2004, driving for Spears Motorsports. They'll also be the presenting sponsor of the NASCAR Cup Series race in June. Fans can also get tickets to any type of event, including sports, concerts, and theater productions. TicketSmarter is committing to helping those in need by donating $1 to every transaction to various charity organizations. Head over to TicketSmarter.com to find tickets for upcoming events. That's TicketSmarter.com. Time for our news and notes segment. Dom, plenty to discuss. And I think we got to get started with Kyle Busch, right?
Oh, you took the words right out of my mouth. That's where I was going to lead with, because you know what? He was the man of few words at Talladega Superspeedway on Saturday. Kyle Busch was made available to the media, and in the fury of conversation and all the different wide range of topics that were talked about, 2023 got brought up. And he said, you're going to have to ask Joe Gibbs about that. So in other words, there's no word right now where Kyle Busch is going to land in 2023. Kind of indicated that it all is indicative of sponsorship. As we know, M&M's is leaving and vacating that ride at the end of the 2022 season. David, Tyler, it's anybody's guess what's going to happen in the next 5 days.
To add to that, the president of Toyota Racing came out publicly and stated there will always be a seat for Kyle Busch at Toyota, one way or the other. And it's hard for me to imagine, David, Kyle Busch ever leaving Toyota because of how strong his team is in the truck series. Even if there's a possible rift between him and Joe Gibbs, they will make it work, because Toyota needs Kyle Busch more than I think Kyle Busch needs Toyota.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, I hadn't kept up with all the news about Kyle Busch. I've heard a little rumblings about it last couple of days, but anyway, I think, you know, when Toyota came into sport, Kyle Busch was you know, started driving for them early on,
Delivered on their first win.
and he really put them on the map, you know, from a NASCAR standpoint, you know what I mean? And it's been a great marriage, you know, Joe Gibbs Racing, Toyota, Kyle Busch. I wouldn't ever think that they would break up that marriage because, you know, obviously we know just talking to Matty D about the truck series having circumstances and bad luck, you know, that's just part of what the sport, you know, one year you just got bad luck and can't seem to get it going. And then the next year, man, everything just hits right on all 8 cylinders. But I think, you know, I would be surprised if you break up that nucleus. I mean, I think if Kyle Busch wants Tyler and Dominic, like you guys were saying, if Kyle Busch wants to be a Toyota driver his entire NASCAR career, that's 100% given. You know what I mean? He can have that. I don't really understand what's going on between Joe Gibbs Racing, Joe Gibbs, and Kyle Busch. You know, there might be some friction there. Why there is, you know, I have no idea. Wouldn't even want to speculate. But you know, I know the relationship that Toyota and Kyle Busch have together is, I mean, that's unbreakable. You know what I mean? So anyway, it's going to be interesting to see what happens, you know, the next couple races, the future, because of what you guys are talking about. I think it's big news. You know, and one of the interesting things when you got the president of TRD coming out stating stuff publicly about Kyle Busch, and then Kyle Busch and Joe Gibbs, one of the things it does do, you know, those guys are focused on trying to win a championship, and then you're hearing all this other stuff going on. I think it's a big distraction amongst that organization to make sure that 18 car is a championship, you know, contender at the end of the year. I think it will be, but I think this is all distractions in their organization.
Right. Yeah. Now, Dominic, you know, Kyle Busch has not run as well the last couple of seasons as opposed to what he was running a few years ago, but he's still one of the top 5, top 10 drivers in the sport, no question about it. And even if there might be a feud of some sorts with Joe Gibbs, if that is what's going on, I would think from what it sounds like, Toyota would find a way to make room possible, whether that's moving Kyle Busch Motorsports to Cup or adding another team at 2311, whatever it may be. If this relationship is soured with Joe Gibbs in any way, Toyota is going to do everything within their power to keep Kyle Busch.
They don't want to lose him. He won 2 championships driving Toyotas. He's won a majority of his Cup Series races, I think all but 4, driving for a Toyota. Yeah, he's too valuable. They have too much stock in Kyle Busch to let him go.
Yeah, and what I wonder in all this, when you think about the back of your mind, Dom, is where does Ty Gibbs come into the fold in all this? Because he's been terrific the last 2 seasons in Xfinity. He looks like he's ready for Cup right now, but there's not any seats available for him. Somebody at some point is going to have to make room for Ty Gibbs.
Well, that's 2311 Racing. You expand to a 3rd car, or if you replace one of the 4 stablemates at Joe Gibbs Racing, Martin Truex Jr. We know Truex has more races behind him than ahead of him. Could that be the replacement there? It'll be remaining to be seen.
Yeah, and that's tough because we see it every week. I mean, Ty Gibbs, I think, could hop into a Cup car right now and probably be better than some of the Cup guys out there.
Well, it looks that way, you know, and you got to understand Ty Gibbs, Joe Gibbs Racing, that's family, that's blood, you know what I mean? So, you know, it'll be interesting to see from this point moving forward how it all plays out, you know, and like Dominic was saying, I mean, I think, you know, Kyle Busch, the value he brings to Toyota in America is you know, it's off the charts, you know what I mean? And I think you guys are right. I think Toyota's going to do everything they can as a manufacturer to keep Kyle Busch in a Toyota race car, you know. But the Joe Gibbs racing thing, I wasn't even thinking about Ty Gibbs until you guys just brought it up. It's gonna be interesting, and the fans and the media, everybody's tuned in to see how it all plays out, right in front of us here in the next weeks or two.
Okay, so I want to hear what you guys think. I think I have a compromise figured out, how everybody could stay happy. Denny Hamlin needs to be running for his own team. Have 2311 buy another charter or work it out with Joe Gibbs, however they need to. Move Denny to 2311, the team he owns. If I owned a team, I'd want to drive for my own team, personally. And then slide Ty Gibbs over to the 11 car. Or maybe he brings the number 11 with him and you renumber it. Maybe it's the 54. I don't know, whatever it may be. I think that could be, and then Kyle Busch stays in the 18. Dom, I think that could make everybody happy.
Put the 2311 and 2311 race. You keep Bubba Wallace in the 23 or whomever in the 23, Denny Hamlin the 11, or keep Kurt Busch in the 45. If they want to keep it a 3-car team, you're onto something there. I think Ty's built that brand around the 54 too.
Right. What do you think of that idea, David?
Man, I don't know, man. There's so much involved. I wouldn't even want to speculate on it, man. You're probably right, Tyler. I just agree with you, but man, there's no telling. I just, it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out, but anything's possible, I guess,
Right. When in doubt, agree with Tyler Jones. I like that. Dominic, what else we got?
Other headline from Tuesday, April 23rd, JR Motorsports is fielding the number 88 car in several more races. JR Motorsports announced on Tuesday, April 23rd, William Byron, Kyle Larson, and Chase Elliott will all take a stab in the number 88 car at some point this season in the Xfinity Series. That's going to kick off on Saturday, May 7th with Chase Elliott at Darlington. And then you have William Byron running a couple races with Texas on the schedule included, and Kyle Larson running at Watkins Glen and at the second Darlington race. So we're going to have 2 past champions running those races. So yeah, Elliott at Darlington, Byron at Texas and New Hampshire, and Larson at the Watkins Glen race August 20th and Darlington September 3rd. HendrickCars.com, I will add, is sponsoring the ride.
When you put those Cup regulars in the Xfinity ride, good chance to get these guys some extra confidence, some extra lap time.
Well, I love it. I just think, it brings, fans tune in, puts more fans in the stands, and, and it gives opportunities for us Xfinity race car drivers a chance to, if we can beat a William Byron or a Kyle Larson, it really elevates our, it shows you where you stand up against these guys. I remember racing back years ago in the Truck Series and beating Tony Stewart in a race, racing with him in a race. And it was a big deal, so I think it's awesome that Dale Jr. is going to put the 88 Xfinity car out there and put these superstars of the Cup Series in it, because, it gives a lot of the younger guys in our Xfinity Series and anybody racing experience in our series an opportunity to beat these guys and showcase our talent as much as it is them. They're going to, that's going to be a powerhouse with Dale Earnhardt Jr. Motorsports, Hendrick Motors, HendrickCars.com sponsoring it, and the level of talent, Kyle Busch. I mean, not Kyle Busch. What am I talking about? Kyle Larson.
Yeah.
Along with the other drivers you were just mentioning. I mean, that's a winning combination there. So I think it's great, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, let's look ahead to this weekend. Dominic, tell us about what we have to expect this weekend on the NASCAR circuit.
We have NASCAR Xfinity and Cup Series action at Dover Motor Speedway. It's been rebranded since the Speedway Motorsports takeover. So it'll be the 11th race for the Cup Series, I believe the 9th race for the Xfinity Series. It's going to be some great racing. Dave, look forward to seeing you out there on the track.
Yeah, man, I'm excited always fun to go to that. Man, I love going, no matter where we're racing at, I love racing, but Dover reminds me of Bristol, and man, it's exciting, man. The racing there is great. There's multiple lanes on the racetrack. It's fast, it's exciting, but cool thing, I'm headed to Washington, D.C. tomorrow, gonna be with Brett Baer and Stan Ross. We're going to the Children's National Hospital in Washington, D.C. and taking our Ford Mustang, a race car there, and the kids are going to come out and visit with us, take pictures with Brett Baer and myself, sit in the race car, sign autographs for them. It's such a neat opportunity for us to be able to see those kids, see a smile on their face, talk to them. It's man, that's such a big honor, and I'm so thankful that Brett Baer gives us the opportunity to play a part with that Children's National Hospital. It's amazing because every child in the world should have health care, had care if they need it. And from what I understand, being at the Children's National Hospital last year, that hospital, no matter the child's age and no matter where they're from, if they come to Washington and they need surgery, they need this or that, if they don't have any health care, they're not turned away, and they really take care of all the kids. It's just such a wonderful facility, hospital. The surgeons, everybody involved are just so loving. It's amazing, and I'm excited to go back and have an opportunity to see the staff, the doctors, the nurses, the surgeons, and to meet some of these kids that are there. It's just a cool experience.
Oh, that'll be great to see. Let's go around the room, some names real quick. Dover, for me, I always think of Martin Truex Jr., and he's looking for his first win of 2022. I think Martin finds a way to pull it off. Don, who do you like?
And Dover, it's a great question. I feel like Chase Elliott's going to get the job done in Dover. He's run well there in the past. He's led a lot of laps, had a win slip away from him in 2017, getting past a couple laps to go.
Been a while since he won the Cup level, too.
Say it again.
Been a while since he won a Cup race.
I know, it's been a while. So I think Chase Elliott breaks that dry spell. The 2020 Cup champion gets back to victory lane.
How about Kevin Harvick? I'm gonna pick Kevin Harvick again.
I think you're just gonna pick him every week.
Every week till he wins. Absolutely.
Our Ask David segment coming up in just one moment. But before we do, let's go racing with David Starr, presented by TicketSmarter. TicketSmarter, Kim Moore is the primary sponsor this year on David's 08 Ford Mustang. We want to tell you a little bit about what they do. TicketSmarter is a national ticket resale marketplace with tickets to over 125,000 live events, including NASCAR and other forms of motorsports. Fans can get tickets to every NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, and Camping World Truck race throughout the season. Visit TicketSmarter.com for more information. That's TicketSmarter.com. Let's go ahead and get to our Ask David segment. So our first question in the inbox comes from Danny. Danny wants to know, David, with the NFL draft this weekend, if you could draft 4 drivers to start a Cup team, who would they be?
that's Ross Chastain, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott.
Okay, one more.
And Kyle Busch. I mean,
even at his age.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, Dom, same question to you. Who would be the 4 drivers you would pick to start a Cup team?
Oh, y'all are going to love my answers. I'm going to go with David Starr. I'm going to go with David Starr, Tommy Regan, Jeff Bodine, and I guess we'd have to see who the 4th spot would be, but I feel like all 3 of those guys would bring something to the table, and I happen to know all 3 of those guys personally.
Awesome.
Okay, your team's going to get old pretty fast. Already, good. Kind of already there. The 4 drivers I would go with, if I was starting a team right now, I would – Kyle Larson be my first pick. I think that's kind of an obvious choice at this point. My next pick, I would go Chase Elliott as my second choice.
So you're basically recreating Hendrick Motorsports.
Yes.
Not quite. This is where I'm going to throw a little bit of a curveball at you. I would go Ty Gibbs. He's 18 years old. I'm going to put him on a lifetime contract. We got Ty Gibbs for 20 years or something like that. And then my next pick after that, I would go with Austin Cindric. Already won an Xfinity title, already won a Daytona 500. I get him for another 20 years, essentially. I got great building blocks. I'd go with those 4 guys. I would go young, and we would go from there. So
Dominic, what you're trying to say is we wouldn't be business partners on this Cup team, would we?
No, that's the thing. I'm bringing you guys in because of your business savvy. I'm thinking bigger picture. I'm not thinking just raw talent. I'm thinking talent too. Don't get me wrong. But between Jeff Bodine owning a team at one point, David, you and your business savvy, Tommy Regan and his business savvy, I think the 4 of us would put a really good team together. We could bring in a young driver.
Absolutely.
You didn't even hire a 4th driver.
I know. That's why I will consult with Jeff, David, and Tommy and who we need to bring in as our 4th guy. Maybe
Okay.
Chris Lafferty. He was on the show a few weeks ago. I'll give him an opportunity. Let's see how he do.
There we go.
All right. The next question in the inbox. This one comes from Danielle. Danielle wants to know, David, what is your expectations at the Cup level for the rest of this year? What are some surprises you think we can see happen?
Man, that's a great question.
We've already seen a lot
We've
of
already
surprises.
seen, I mean, just the the track house and what they've done in their sophomore year in the Cup Series with, Ross Chastain winning 2 races, Daniel Suarez being, leading all these races every week.
Chase Briscoe winning, Cindric winning.
Absolutely. It's just, this new next gen car has really changed up the sport, I believe. And, but man, I think we've already seen some big surprises, and I think our champion in 2022 will be a surprise. You know what I mean? And I just think there's bigger surprises to come with people maybe leaving the sport, some new guys coming in. I mean,
Give me intel on who's leaving?
No, and just seeing who's and looking at maybe some other new winners in the Cup Series in 2022. So I just think this year in the NASCAR Cup Series is full of surprises. You know what I mean?
Okay, here's one. I'm going to go out on a limb, Dom. We almost saw this happen this weekend, but I think it's going to happen. Eric Jones will get back in victory lane this year, and I think he's going to make it to the round of 8 in the playoff.
Ooh, wow. I don't even know if I have the words for that one. That's definitely a surprise pick there. I think Eric Jones could even point his way in the playoffs. I don't know if he'd get as far as the round of 8, but hey, stranger things have happened. I think if I'm thinking of anything that crazy that could happen, I could see a couple more first-time winners. We have guys like Tyler Reddick, Daniel Suarez. We even look deeper in the field. What about like David Reagan? Well, David Reagan's won some races, but what about a surprise winner like that? David Reagan or AJ Allmendinger, one of these part-timers, comes and gets it done at a super
Need a
speedway.
statement, though. What is going to happen, Dom?
What is going to happen? Okay. I think Tyler Reddick gets 2 wins this year.
2. Okay.
I can see that.
I could too. I mean, if Ross Chastain can win 2 races, why can't Tyler Reddick?
And I think Daniel Suarez will get a win. I think both Trackhouse cars will be in the playoffs, and I think they advance past the round of 16.
Okay.
That'd be my surprise pick.
12 at least. All right. So there you have it. That is our Ask David segment for this week. Before we go, real quick, guys, David, you are off to the nation's capital. We mentioned going to Children's National Hospital with Brett Baer and company, and then off to Dover this weekend. And you guys, the team seems to be getting better every single week. You guys are starting to gain some traction.
Listen to Matty D talking earlier about, his new venture in the truck series with the 25 truck and circumstances and luck. I mean, it seems like, we've had our TicketSmarter Ford Mustang has been exceptionally fast, and drives good, and just circumstances, things happen to us. We hadn't been able to put a whole race together. So I'm just hoping that maybe it's Dover this week that we can put it all together and get us a great finish, So I'm looking forward to the opportunity, and you got to keep digging. Whether we have bad luck or the race plays out in our favor, you got to keep on keeping on. You definitely know that we're going to be doing that.
Yeah. Dominic, what's going on with you?
I'll be out here in New Mexico this weekend. We don't have any boots on the ground at Dover Motor Speedway, but we will have remote coverage as we always do, updating the website and keep NASCAR fans in the know about what's going on in the industry and all around the sport. You, Tyler?
I am going to be all over the NFL draft this weekend. That will consume me and take up all my time. And I'll be exhausted by the end of it. But you know what? That's why I love what I do. And going to be a lot of fun. So as always, subscribe to Let's Go Racing with David Starr. New episodes out each and every Wednesday. Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and on YouTube. Hit the like button on the video. Make sure to hit the 5-star review. If you don't leave us a 5-star review, you're a hater. And as always, follow us on Twitter at Starr Podcast, Facebook.com/David Starr Podcast. And also you can find us by email, davidstarpodcast@gmail.com. We'll put the checker flag out on this episode. Big thanks to Matt DiBenedetto for stopping by and joining us. And we will see you all next week. For Dominic Aragon, David Starr, Tyler Jones, thanks so long. This has been another edition of Let's Go Racing.